Welcome to the Daily Dose. This is Susan Scarlett and her buddy Robert Cochran. And I'm wondering how you're doing today. You got a big old smile on your face, and what's up?
It's been a wild day. Post graduation has higher peaks and some scary lower lows. Life is just one of the crazy adventures that I've been on, and as you know, and we'll let people know this, for the last 18 months has been developing this backyard office. And within this thing, which anybody who's done any sort of construction project around the house, especially dealing with permitting, if you have a persnickety city hall, to use a fun word, this could be a challenge. And so it's taken 18 months to get to where we're actually breaking ground. We started this week, and then a problem happened. And all of a sudden, this has been, frankly, traumatic, this experience. And where I was thinking, where I'd like you to come at this with is to just start asking me questions. I'm going to start telling the story, and you take it in kind of that Denzel from Philadelphia role, treat me like a 5-year-old, and stop me when something I say doesn't make sense. Because improvisationally, we want to be about listening and community building, and that really fits customer service. I feel like I've gotten an awful customer service experience, and I'm still trapped in it. And it affects me to the point where I question myself. This is what happened last night.
Question yourself.
Yeah. Am I doing, what did I screw up? What did I do wrong? How did I cause this? And did I, going into, my insecurities, oh God, did I not pay attention? Did I miss something? Those are things.
Is that a default? A classic
Yes,
default?
that's one of my defaults, one of my core fears, right? That I can jump into if something goes wrong. And I've over the years gotten better at allowing me to go. My phrase is, you're better than you give yourself credit for.
Oh. And so what do you do to kind of prove that to yourself in the moment?
I breathe and relax and try to take in everything. Say, let's try not to run down the path of fear. And a practical example for this: last night, the foundation gets laid, and it's supposed to be a 16 by 17 block concrete foundation. As it gets inspected, we're rolling forward, great. As it gets finally laid out, it ends up being 21 by 12. It ends up being wrongly stretched.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yep, go back.
Wait, how did that happen?
So I had to ask that exactly, because as the customer, did I lay out plans? I did. And I submitted them to this company. And the company, whom I had a lot of problems with, back and forth, the individual who was most problematic took my plans, redesigned them into what was considered correct for schematics for the city.
And was that
submitted them.
in consultation with you before we get to
So,
the submission part? Was that in
right
consultation?
question. Yeah, in consultation. He gave them to me to submit to the city. He did not say, take a look at these to make sure they're right, or I made a change. He didn't say anything like that.
He didn't tell you that he made a change?
No, and and that's the key fact. He did make a change, because the building is 16 by 12, right? And the 5 foot that adds up to 17 is like a patio. Okay. The front of the building is 16. It runs then 12 from front to back. So it needs to face a certain direction. What that individual did was he turned it 90 degrees on the plan that I was to submit to the city without saying anything to me. Did he give it to me to give to the city? Yes. But he didn't say, hey, review this, I made a change.
Right. Yes. Yes. That's a critical piece. Wow.
Right. So it gets submitted. The plans come back. By the way, when they come back for the concrete guide to follow, they're blurry, like they blew them up from a low res image, a little hard to read. But he goes ahead, and One thing, he first makes the 16 by 12 block, which is what the building will sit on. That's what the permit inspector needs to see, because that has all of the rebar and the specific, the weight, the load bearing part. The patio doesn't have that so much. There's not going to be something sitting on it. So
Okay.
that didn't need to be inspected.
Okay.
So the 16 by 12 gets inspected, passes, looks pretty much like a block at 16 by 12, And then it isn't until later in the day, I come back and I see the 5 foot's been extended and I go, wait a minute, that doesn't look right. And then I break out a tape measure and go, that's only 12, it's not 16. And we'll tell you more on the next Daily Dose.